Good afternoon. Today is Monday, June 9th, 2025. It's 4:30 p.m. and we are gathered here today for our HR Business Services Committee meeting at our district service centers in Duluth Public Schools. So we will start with our Human Resources report today. The HR and transportation teams partnered to establish a school bus driver training program offering 6 weeks of paid training that progresses from bus helper to certified bus driver with CDL and bus endorsements. And I'm going to ask Director Severance to talk about that, but first I would just point out that this bus driver training program is in the back of our packet. One of the last pages, 243, that's where you can see it says drive more than a bus, drive a future, your journey starts here. Starting July 1st, 2025, it looks like an informational flyer for folks to inform them about the program. I would encourage everyone to look at that.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to point this out. I've talked about it, I think, at our last meeting that we were putting this training into place. So it's for anyone in the community that's looking to be a bus driver or look to get their CDL and help us in a bus driving capacity. And we'll be starting that on July 1. So it is a cohort that will come in and train with our current staff. And by the end of the training, you would be eligible and have what you need to be able to take your CDL licensure and be ready to be a bus driver for us in the start of school. Just really want to encourage, we do have that out on our website. It is a separate posting under the job postings that talks about the training program. This flyer is also attached there, as well as just an application to get signed up to join us.
Perfect. And then are we going to do any social media posts about that in conjunction with the demo?
We have posted on our Facebook for this, and that is
Perfect.
Doing that.
Awesome, thank you. Superintendent Magus?
Yes, I just wanted to say thanks. I think this is an innovative program, and we are seeing a little more interest in some of our transportation positions, but it's always important for us to keep up this good work. I also wanted to note that even though we listed the closed session starting at 5, we do that just in case something finishes early. It's not an intention that we have to crunch our time. People can wait for the closed session, but I just wanted to note that for the public, but as well as the committee.
Thank you, sounds good. We'll make sure to do a thorough overview of all of our materials. Member Banks, do you have a question or comment?
Yes, I do. This is just for clarification. Would the district pay for or help pay for the CDL if the candidate makes it through the training successfully?
Right now, we do not have anything set up to pay for the CDL, but we do allow use of our buses for the testing.
Good question. Thank you, Member Banks. Any other questions or comments regarding the school bus driver training program? Okay, seeing none, I'll continue on with the HR report for this month. On May 6th, the HR team attended Denfeld's job fair, engaging with students and discussing various district job opportunities. Some things that our HR department's working on. The benefits department is working on entering and distributing the healthcare savings plan for our retirees. Kinsey Klasnich, our benefits coordinator, is collaborating with district leadership to enhance the onboarding process for new employees district-wide. And we have started the 2025-2027 negotiations with principals, EEA, paraprofessionals, integration specialists, and we'll start meeting with food service and education directors in early June. Some upcoming changes and improvements to the department. The HR team has completed all clerical job description meetings, developed and updated job descriptions to accurately reflect the clerical staff responsibilities, and distributed the revised job descriptions to unit members and their supervisors. And we will see those a little bit later on in our consent agenda, and I was hoping Director Severance could make some comments about those job descriptions at that time. But are there any questions or comments about our HR report? Member Banks.
Thank you. Just a quick question. As it relates to integration specialists, is there going to be a provision or opportunity for hiring maybe a part-time integration specialist at Stowe Elementary School. It's a very diverse campus of students, and there's not an integration specialist there. Would that be something that we, as a district, could do once budgets are finalized?
Thank you for that question. The staffing related to integration specialists, they are something, that's something that the coordinator for the Office of Education Equity works on and determines. At this point in time, there are no plans to add an additional staff, but that's something that I could or will have conversations with the coordinator once he returns.
Great, thank you for that question. And seeing no other questions or comments, we will move on to our business services section of our meeting, starting with the enrollment report. I just wanted to, there's a lot of information in here, and I really appreciate our staff's just efforts in providing all of these detailed reports for us. I always really like looking at, like about the third report in, it's page 8. At our active enrollment by month, and looking at 2024-2025 school year is highlighted by the yellow line, and we'll see that even now at the end of the year, we see all of the years kind of going down over the course of the months of the school year based on students graduating and other different factors, but we're considerably above the last 3 years I noted on here, even at this point in the school year, and I thought that was noteworthy to point out. Did anyone else have any thoughts or comments? Superintendent Magus?
Just quick comment on that. I think the enrollment team, they're excellent at their calculations. I also thank Adele Wellens and the folks that have been working on our enrollment campaign. That's resulted in some new enrollments for us, and we'll hear more about that at the Committee of the Whole.
Great, thank you. Seeing no other questions or comments, I'm going to move on to our child nutrition report. Some things that our child nutrition department's working on. Getting ready for summer meals to start on June 16th at Stowe, Lower MacArthur, Piedmont, Myers, and Myers-Wilkins. Breakfast starts at 7:30 and ends at 10, and lunch is served from 11 to 12:30. And this is free to all students 18 and under. And then additionally, Denfeld, Lincoln Park, and Rockridge will also be open for the students enrolled in programming at those sites. I think that it's just a really great program that we offer these summer breakfasts and lunches, and I also really appreciate, I know our staff have worked hard to collaborate with community partners as well who may need meals. End of the year shutdown procedures and inventory have begun. Lots of additional cleaning and preparations for the fall are taking place. Some upcoming changes and improvements to the department. Myers-Wilkins Child Nutrition Program was awarded a Fuel Up Equipment Grant from the National Dairy Council. The grant award consists of mobile transport carts that will help increase students' access to and consumption of nutritious meals and snacks, including dairy. And then under the staffing report for child nutrition, we had 3 employees retire from the child nutrition department at the end of this school year. Just wanted to say thank you to Barb, Susan, and Linda for their years of work feeding healthy meals to our students. Any questions or comments on our child nutrition report?
I just want to say that our the food nutrition serves over $1.4 million, I'm into dollars, meals a year, and that's quite remarkable. And yes, to have these 3 work put in that time, 10, 24, and 18 years is something to be commended.
Yep, absolutely. And they are also one of those extra adults in many kids' lives too, that are really important to them as they have mentorships.
I was going to comment similarly. It was actually a point, wouldn't say it's trivia because 1.4 million meals is far from trivial, but it's one of the facts that's on one of our celebration posters. If people get a chance to take a look, I think that's part of why we left them up, is just people want to check them out. There's some pretty cool information on them.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check them out. It's probably hard to see for those who are watching the meeting, but lots of really nice posters highlighting a lot of the different important programs in our district. Hi, Member Williams. We are on just moving into our facilities report, which is on page 11. So seeing no other questions or comments about our nutrition report, for our facilities report, we're working on getting all of the bids completed and reviewed for all the district's summer projects. Establish project timelines and KPIs, scope of work and working document should be in place for the start of the summer work schedule. The Duluth News Tribune, the DNT project bids documents are in development, parking lot measured up for patching and repairs, which we'll see later on in some of our contracts. And then the handrails for Denfeld Auditorium have been repaired and installed, which is good to hear. And then there's a long list of things that our facilities department are working on. I was just going to highlight a few, but really extend a lot of gratitude for all of the work that's being done on these projects, especially as we head into the summer. It's really fun going into our schools in the fall when they're all bright, shiny, and new, and everything has been repaired, but there's so much work that goes into it on the back end. But a few projects I would point out that caught my eye. Myers-Wilkins, there's some classroom build-outs happening by Donald Home Construction in Jamar. Career and Tech Ed East High School manufacturing space is being developed, and that's by DSGW. And then at our district service center, the transportation building expansion is in progress. Foundation forms have been poured, and that's Donald Home Construction. And then parking lots are being measured for repairs. So it's always nice to see all of those things happening. Any questions or comments about our facilities report? Seeing none, we'll move on to our health and safety report. I guess I was going to point out one other thing, because there was a second page, that we have a few custodial positions open I saw, 3 at Denfeld, East High School as well. And then I also noted later on in the report that, someone was promoted from Stowe to another engineer shift. And so I think there's a lot of room for career development within our ISD 709, all the different career fields. And so I would just encourage folks to apply. There's a lot of opportunities for education when it comes to employment and growth. So now I'll move on to the safety committee report. What we're working on is audits and inspections. So asbestos identification survey at the First Street building was completed, and cleanup was complete. The respirable dust testing was completed at East High School Wood Workshop, and they're working with the teacher and insurance company safety representative to find possible solutions. I remember hearing about that the last couple meetings. Routine well water sampling at Lakewood Elementary was completed by the Minnesota Department of Health on June 4th. And then playground inspections are underway to make sure that our playgrounds are safe for all of our students. And those are the items that I would highlight on this report. Does anyone else? I guess one other thing on the second page, the school crisis prevention. So there were instruction documents to assist with our new policy, number 806 procedures, and those are in progress. And then a training video for families and staff about reunification is complete and available on the district website, and they give the link. So I think that was noteworthy to point out. And I know there was some good communication that happened with parents as well. Seeing no questions or comments about our safety report, I'll move on to our technology report, which is found on page 15. As we continue to go forward in using 21st century technology, it is important to keep vigilant in the area of cybersecurity. Training, surveying, and communicating are all important in minimizing the risk of a large-scale attack. So we look forward to the future opportunities of collaboration with the ISD 709 family and how we can play an important role in our success with this. And we really appreciate all the work of our technology staff because we know how important it is to prevent a cybersecurity attack and protect our information. Next month, we'll see a new technology director. They will find a hardworking technology team ready to assist them. And we are aware of the challenges of our display units, smart boards, in the secondary schools. With new technology director coming in, we can continue a long-range plan for their replacement. And I would be remiss if I didn't point out that our technology referendum could have paid for a lot of those smart boards. It was for more than Chromebooks. It was for many, many things. And I don't mean to drone on about it, but anytime something like this comes up, those are really important educational tools for our students to make sure that they're ready for college and the trades or whatever field they go into after high school. Superintendent Magus?
No, I just wanted to, again, thank our manager, technology manager, Peter Graves, for the excellent service he's done in our district in so many different roles, but rounding out his, at least this part of his career, as manager of technology. He's been instrumental in helping us through this phase, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. All right, some other things that we're working on or that our technology department's working on, finishing up the rebuild of our network server that will improve system security and efficiency. Moving on our Windows 11 upgrade, which I know is a really heavy lift, I would imagine. So appreciate all the work that's going to go on behind the scenes for that. And then there was a review of our technology table talk exercise where we analyzed a mock scenario of a cyber attack. Communication will be an important piece of navigating a possible future event. And we appreciate the ongoing support from all of our district departments on that. And then upcoming changes and improvements to the department. Again, we purchased 500 Chromebooks to add to the inventory for next year. And I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Those Chromebooks are such a useful tool for our students. Just on a personal note, with my kids in the district, they've been able to rewatch lesson plans, communicate with teachers, and it's really enhanced their learning and made it more kind of engaging. So appreciate that we're able to purchase those. And then I think those are the things that I would highlight for the technology report. Any questions or comments? Okay, then we will move on to our transportation report. The manager's minutes, the end of the school year has arrived, and now we switch to summer school and vehicle maintenance. We will also be working on next year's busing. Summer school routing is our main focus right now, along with preparing for the rollover to the 2025-2026 school year, and then creating an outline of what needs to be trained this fall when everyone returns. Some upcoming changes and improvements to the department, preparing for trainings for the fall and beyond to keep our drivers' skills up to date. And as far as a staffing report at this time, we are almost fully staffed and are hopeful that we will be staffed properly for the beginning of the 25-26 school year. And then stats on our, in the spotlight, our oldest bus in the fleet is a 2012, and our newest ones are from 2024. Any questions or comments on our transportation report? Okay, thank you. Then we will move into our recommended resolutions. There was two. If you looked yesterday, we had two resolutions, but one was added. So you might see it online there, but it's the public transit DTA resolution. Wait a minute, is that in the, no, that's after the budget. Let's see, so it's not a resolution then. This was just added, so this will be actually after a financial report, sorry. I apologize, but you'll see that, so spoiler alert, Member Banks, we have some exciting news about the DTA. We will just go over our two resolutions then, or it looks like we have three, I guess. So we have our resolution for the adoption of the fiscal year 2026 budget, and that is on page 17. So that is obviously very significant. We have, as a board, had many readings for our budget. On May 6th, we had our first reading at our regular Committee of the Whole meeting in May. On May 27th, there was a special Committee of the Whole meeting that I had to miss, but I know you all were there. That was on May 27th, special call for a second reading. And then on June 12th, this Thursday, we'll have another Committee of the Whole where we'll have our third reading of the budget. And at that budget, you'll see that Director Zunich updated our special ed and ALC aid, our ALC aid, and then benefits expenses have been updated to reflect pension reform for teachers. So those are the two changes. Any other comments or additions on that?
No, when I do present this information on Thursday, I won't be reading the entire budget again. I will just highlight the 4 changes that I made, that I addressed.
Yep, that sounds good, and that makes sense. That seems like what we've done in past years as well.
Thank you.
Yep. And then on June 17th is our board meeting, which seems a little earlier than normal, but that's next Tuesday. June 17th is our board meeting, and that is where we will vote on the adoption of this resolution. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, seeing none, I will highlight our other resolutions. We have our typical resolution, acceptance of donations to Duluth Public Schools. There are many there. We really appreciate all of our community partners. I'll just highlight a couple. There was the Boat Club Care, Duluth Boat Club Care of J. St. Vincent, and that was $1,500 to support the Legally Blonde musical at Denfeld High School, which was a phenomenal performance. There's another one from Love Creamery to support the Gold Fine Gold Star Teacher Award ceremony, and that was, looks like an in-kind donation of ice cream. And then on the second page, Twin Ports Dermatology donated an in-kind donation for skincare to an employee wellness fair. And then the last one I was going to highlight is the Resource Training and Solutions, a Minnesota Service Cooperative, donated $600, and the money was used by Lincoln Park Middle School to help with PBIS implementation, so positive and behavioral intervention programs, right? Yep. So I don't know, I think there's just a wide variety of donations in here, and it's really inspiring to see just the myriad of donations to our schools. And then Superintendent Magus.
I was just going to say, related to the wellness fair, that I was very impressed with the work that was put together to put that together. It was very well put together by our Human Resources Department, and it was, this time we had it at Denfeld, which was nice, and it was very well attended, and it was interfaced with our Professional Development Day, so it was great to see so many community partners not just donating the things that they have on the list, but they also donated a lot of their time. It was really impressive. Thank you, Executive Director Severance.
Yeah, thank you. I know when I saw that, I was like, oh, I wish I had been there. So it's nice to hear there was a special day for that. And then our third resolution is the acceptance of grant awards to Duluth Public Schools. This one is from the Northland Foundation. The author was Jen Jaros. It was for ECFE, and it was $5,000 to support and enhance our home visiting strategy in an effort which is a proven and effective way to engage and provide parent education to families in a variety of ways. So that was our grant award acceptance this year, this month. Any questions or comments on our resolutions? Seeing none, we'll move into our consent agenda. First, we have our HR staffing report, and there are a lot of job descriptions, and I guess we're going to be hearing more about job descriptions, but I'm going to let Director Severance kind of speak to a few of these. But it has to do with what we mentioned earlier in the report with kind of looking over a lot of the clerical positions, and a lot of the job descriptions hadn't been updated recently, and so it was good to shore those up. But I'll let Director Severance talk about that.
Thank you. Yeah, I will start with the clerical that are on the agenda. As part of our negotiation process with our clerical unit last time around, we agreed to review all the job descriptions. Many are well over 10 years old, some even older than that, as well as the very generic nature of the majority of the job descriptions, and knowing that we have some very specific work that gets done not only at our sites, elementary versus high school, but also at our district offices. There's just a varying amount of specific work, and we wanted to make sure we could hone in those job descriptions to be more related to what the work they're actually doing. So we took this process where we met with all the clericals individually with their union and got feedback on what their job looks like, a day in the life, if you will, and then worked with them to create a new job description that really supported the work that they do and articulated the actual duties that they do on a given basis. We are in the process with a good portion that are still remaining of having supervisory review them, just to make sure that the information we received accurately reflects what that job needs to be doing, as well as the appropriate to be doing. The ones that we have on the board agenda today have already been reviewed by not only the incumbent of the position, the union, as well as the supervisor of these positions. So we're moving them forward as just to keep the process rolling. I would expect next month we will have 20 more that will be coming forward. The reason that these do not have pay, I just want to point that out, is we'll be sending those off for banding and grading, and so that hasn't been determined yet. As well as the titles may change as we get through that process, because wherever they fall in the banding and grading in their different levels, we may change their job titles or find a more consistent job title. So some of them might have a different title when we bring it forward for the board for approval, but the job description itself and everything else on it will remain the same. The other one I want to just point out, and that's 4A1, is the Next Gen Apprentice Teacher Paraprofessional position. This is very exciting. We partnered with the University of Minnesota for a teaching grant, and it allows our current paraprofessionals to have schooling covered for at least the first year of a 2-year program, for them to get a teaching degree and allow them to then move forward potentially into a special education position within the district. They are current paraprofessionals. Right now, we have 3 people that have expressed interest, which is a great start. So this program will go into place July 1. So this position in particular, we need to get posted so that those 3 people can apply for the position. Also, the pay grade has not been given to this because it is in the process of being banded and grading. But you'll see some very specific things here related to how the apprenticeship works and the rules of the apprenticeship that might look different than our normal paraprofessional job descriptions. Worked very closely with the union leadership as well in the paraprofessional unit. The program coordinator from the university that's helping pilot this program has come out and spoken at the union meeting so that staff understood what that looked like. And we're just really excited to have a pipeline for our paraprofessionals to move into teaching positions if they so desire. And I think this is a great start for that at no cost, at least for the first year, to them. And what they will do is they will serve in their paraprofessional role at the district, but they will take on some additional duties as they move through their education in the teaching, and they'll have a mentor at some point through the teaching process, usually in the second year, where they'll be able to learn more on-the-job training, if you will. So this will actually be a bona fide apprenticeship program through the state, so similar to like what we might have at a City of Duluth for a plumber or those type of things. It follows that same process through the state of Minnesota. So really excited about this.
When they move into their student teaching experience, is that a paid student teaching experience then? Do you know?
When they do their student teaching, and it's different than what they will do here. So they will be paid as a paraprofessional. When they do a student teaching, the college will take a different approach at that point.
Okay.
These positions are intended to be a 2-year position while they're completing their schooling. So there's some of those details we still need to work out with the university, but I believe when they go into a actual student teaching where they are the student and the teacher of record in the class as a result of that, that is a different piece than being a paraprofessional in the classroom. So
Yeah, no, this is really exciting. So are they taking their college classes in the evenings then?
yes, they're evening and online classes. So
that's
it's
amazing.
designed specifically to work with staff that have regular day jobs. And for the pilot, it is for our employees that are already paras that have either an associate's degree or can, get one in short order. So they have to meet the qualifications of the program with the University of Minnesota. And we have 3 that have signed up.
Seeing no other lights on, we will move on in our consent agenda. So there are no bids, RFPs, and quotes. And here's where we can talk about our different contracts, change orders, and leases. So members, Banks, and Williams, do you see the DTA one on the board book? Okay, great. So that is here. Really not much has changed in here. It's just the finalized contract that we have already looked at and approved. This is just kind of finalized language. And just a reminder that this came, the funding for this, so we have this contract to allow our students, for those who don't know, who may be watching, for our Duluth Public School students to ride the DTA buses, which is great. They can use the buses for going to jobs. They can use the buses if they miss a school bus or prefer to ride that bus to go to school. And the funding for this came from a TIF project. And those are funds that we cannot use for staffing or anything else, really. So, other things, but not staffing. So this is what we chose to do because it really benefits a lot of our students, especially some of our students from marginalized communities who might not have transportation as much as other students. So glad to see that on here. Any questions or comments?
I just wanted to add a comment that, so thank you for mentioning the opportunity that our students, and it's our secondary students. So I want to make sure that we are aware that
thank
it's
you.
our specifically high school students who have the opportunity to take advantage of this. It's something that they can access in the summertime, before and after school as well, even over the weekend. So it is our high school students that this opportunity exists. And I would be remiss not to mention that after the 25-26 school year, we're going to have greater conversations on continuing such an opportunity. But this presents itself opportunities to partner with maybe an organization that would be very generous and looking forward to supporting students. So we have a full year to really strive to partner with, potentially a community member or organization that would want to continue to fund this after the 25-26 school year.
I think it's a great opportunity to collect data on the impact, and I'm thinking it'll be very positive on our students. And that's a really good opportunity because we can utilize that data to maybe try to access some funds in the future.
Thank you.
So, and I appreciate you pointing out the high schoolers.
high schoolers.
And the summer, that they can use it over the summer to, get to jobs and things like that. Director Zinich, did you have a comment? Okay. Superintendent Magus?
Yes, I just want to thank the team for being creative and finding a solution and finding the funding, and also the board for urging us to do so, particularly Member Banks. You were, there were multiple people involved, but you really highly encouraged us to find another means of funding this and making sure that we have equity for our students. And it's important for us to at least get the students there to make sure that they have opportunity to learn. So very grateful.
Great. Seeing no other questions or comments, our other items under this are the contract for the Duluth East High School parking lot improvements, bid number 1339. And this was, as you remember, approved 5/20/25, and this is a resurfacing of the Duluth East parking lot. And then we have a change order for the Education Center Improvement Project. This is RFP number 339, approved 5/2025. So Simone sent that to us a week ago or so to kind of take a peek at. And it has to do with the design change of the, I believe, the DNT building.
Yes, design changes and help with our LTFM planning as well.
Perfect. And I think a lot of those design changes that are happening are going to really allow us to utilize the space just more efficiently. Not that it wasn't efficient before, but able to fit in some more programming and things like that. Any questions or comments? All right, well then we will move on to, let's see, our miscellaneous informational items. So our expenditure contracts are on starting on page 102. And you will see a long list of those. I had a few that I would point out. We had a few expenditure contracts for the American Indian education, for culturally specific services, cultural knowledge, teaching, drumming, and singing services, which was good to see. There was one for the ALC for a screen printing workshop, and another one for the Legally Blonde musical. But there's a whole list starting on page 102 that I assume everyone has looked over thoroughly. But any questions, concerns, or any other ones that people wanted to highlight? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to our no-cost contracts, which are found on page 228. There's one for Essentia Health. It's always nice to see no-cost contracts from Essentia Health for career and tech education. So Essentia Health is agreeing to furnish clinical or other such resources as may be appropriate to students or faculty as needed for career and tech ed. So thank you to Essentia Health for that. Then I would move on to our revenue contracts. There is one, you've seen this one before recently for the Kids College Learning Center. We're going to be providing those meals. Because we saw our 10% increase in meals last month, we have to do a 10% increase. So this is the FY26 agreement for the Kids College Learning Center to provide the meals. And they're still very appreciative of the partnership. And then our grant applications can be found on page 242. So again, this is an application. I actually ran into a teacher over the weekend at a festival and kind of heard about this, but we are requesting $150,000 for district-wide Check and Connect funds to fund 3 Check and Connect mentors. And that's to the St. Louis County Family Services Collaborative. So great to see that application in, and we'll keep an eye out for that. Hopefully we'll see it come through. Fingers crossed. And then the last page of our report is on page 243, and I already pointed that out. That's just the flyer for the bus driver training program. Any last questions, thoughts? Seeing none, that will end our HR business meeting for today. Thank you.